All right, now a Seattle housing proposal that would have given developers an 80% break on mandatory housing affordability fees, MHA fees, appears to be dead. The Housing Development Consortium informed the mayor's office that some of their members felt that they didn't have enough of a say in how all this went down. So they put the brakes on. And when they went to the mayor's office and said, "We're not on board with this now," the mayor's office said, "Okay, I guess we're backing out of this deal." Now, this comes at a time when, of course, Seattle has a crisis in housing, not just, single family homes, but rental housing, affordable housing, higher income units. They haven't been building much at all over the last couple of years for a variety of reasons, but it's reached a real crisis point at this juncture. So this again has all been about the suspension of these MHA fees, or the 80% suspension, has been about speeding up the pipeline for construction. Now, developers building in mandatory housing affordability, what this required them to do, and I'm going to read from this so I don't get this wrong, but they either had the option of making an in lieu financial contribution to the city's Seattle Office of Housing Trust Fund, which currently has hundreds of millions of dollars sitting in that fund, we should note. And that's to support nonprofit affordable housing construction. Or in lieu of making that financial contribution, the developer has to agree then to say, okay, well then I don't want to pay that fee, but I will insure a certain percentage of the new units in this high rise or whatever I'm building will be for low income tenants. So it has to be one or the other. But that has been a real, driver as to why there hasn't been a lot of private construction in the city of Seattle. And so they have had this proposal to kind of give these developers a break. So things were progressing along, thousands of new units in the pipeline, and all of a sudden the brakes are on. So I want to share part of my interview that I did on Wednesday evening with Natalie Quick. She's co-founder of the Seattle Housing Roundtable, and they're pretty upset about this about face because they've been working with the Housing Development Consortium and also with the mayor's office on this for quite some time, and felt that everything was progressing, give and take. And she knows that the need for housing in the city of Seattle is absolutely critical.
New permit applications, according to city data, have dropped 88% from that 2020 peak housing production. We actually just got the Q2 2026 numbers from the city, and now it's 94%. So new housing applications are down 94% right now for multifamily housing in Seattle. On the flip side of that, year over year completions dropped almost 35%. So alarm bells are going off for us, right? That we're not getting new production and new completions are finishing. And so supply and demand tells us we are running out of new supply coming to market. And for renters, that is not a good equation, right? That only leads to increased rent. And so as supporters of housing, we are trying desperately to say to the city, you have a really quick moment in time here to act and do something on a temporary basis that is laser focused on two things. It is laser focused on freeing up thousands of units right now that are stuck in permitting and cannot get their construction loan. If we can't solve for that, those units are going to die. Those projects go away.
Now, we did reach out to the office of Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson 2 days in a row, receiving no response at all as to what really happened here. Why are the brakes suddenly on? Is this potentially that, folks in affordable housing, government funded project people don't want the private sector developers getting any piece of the pie? Again, the office did not respond. But during a Tuesday, that Housing Development Consortium meeting, which I took part in that for about the first hour that it was going on, there was a spokesperson from the mayor's office. Her name is Nicole Valestero Soper. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. But she said this, and we'll put up the graphic as to what she said in that meeting. She said, from the mayor's perspective, she, meaning Mayor Wilson, is very concerned about making sure we're meeting housing production that our region and that our city needs. There were important communities that felt left behind by this policy, and that felt like they were being represented in what this policy contained. They felt like it could potentially harm their neighborhoods or communities. And so, again, maybe that's why the mayor has put the brakes on this. Now, Natalie Quick told me at this point, things don't look very promising, but they don't want to give up for good. They're still trying to negotiate with the mayor's office and potentially resurrect this program.
You know, the optimistic side of me says, where there's a will, there's a way, and we'll see what we can make happen. I do know what makes me feel hopeful is that the data is on our side. Like the story of where housing production is in Seattle right now is in a free fall. And it's not going to get better without something monumental like this in a temporary way to get things moving. But this is a very short window. This isn't a let's stakeholder this for 3 months and see how we feel. Our push to the mayor and HDC, which we had agreed on before, and the council was we were going to try to move this forward before budget started in the fall. And so moving this into 2027, deals are going to die. So it is definitely a, meet the moment. And I'm hopeful that something can come together, but we shall see.